It's crunchy time in F1, and I can tell you it's going to be more crunchier. Just get your groundnut pack, your crispy potato pack, your Lay's, peanuts, bottle of soft cold drink, and enjoy the last 6 races because it's going to be exhilarating. Now, a lot of teams have started playing different games, different underhand tactics just to make sure other teams suffer. Now, in the last 6 races, we know the McLaren are on top. They're already leading in Constructors' Championship by some bunch of points. And we know how Red Bull always does. They've been trying to play some underhand tactics against other teams. Now is the position of other teams to do that. Remember, after Azerbaijan, Red Bull was the main leader in telling FIA that, see, this wing of McLaren is opening. It's opening on high speed. It's opening, so they are using double DRS. But unfortunately, immediately they told McLaren to stop. McLaren knew they were fast already. They have nothing to lose. They are fast. And they told McLaren to stop. You know what happened in Singapore? They led outstandingly, outragingly, in a way that Red Bull didn't believe. After making sure they stopped that double DRS, they were able to lead. Now, a lot of teams have been complaining that Red Bull have been playing another tactics in which they are BIB under the floor. After qualifying, they adjust it after park family to make sure it blends and it aligns so that they can have a good race. It will give the car more downforce. Now, coming to Austin race, they didn't want to disclose the team, so FIA has had a meeting with Red Bull. Now, they have told them to stop it, and Red Bull had come out to say, it is not that they are doing it, but certainly something is happening. But now, they've clarified with FIA they are stopping it. Now, how would that play a huge role in Austin, Mexico, and Las Vegas race for Red Bull? Even Brazil race for Red Bull. They have little time to plan to do things, but will they have the same luck that McLaren had, that even after changing all those things, McLaren were still fast? They were even faster. Will Red Bull have the same opportunity? I can't say for now, but certainly I don't think it will come in the hands or in the position of Red Bull to have that opportunity, because now the Red Bull know they are not fast, so every opportunity for them to be closer enough to McLaren is what they are doing. They've admitted that they have such components in their car, but they didn't admit that it is working in their favor. So now, how does it play for them in this race in Austin? They only have one free practice. After that free practice, they're going into sprint qualifying straight. From sprint qualifying to sprint race, from sprint race to main race qualifying, from main race qualifying to the main race. So they won't have any opportunity or advantage to quickly learn in that 1 hour of free practice, which will give them a whole lot of problem. I can see, and I believe, and I think a whole lot of problem is coming in for Red Bull. There is no way they can hide it. Now, how do they come over this? It depends on how intelligent they are. They have good teamwork, but a lot of them have left for McLaren, Ferrari. Now they're thinking of taking people from Renault. How will it work for them? It will be very difficult, sincerely. It will be very difficult for Red Bull. But I hope it works for them positively. And if it does, it's an advantage to Red Bull, because I want it to be a battle, but a battle for Red Bull against McLaren, and inexperienced McLaren might crumble them this season. So whichever way it goes. Now, there have been so many changes in the meeting in which the FIA had, and the major ones on Formula One is what I'm going to talk about. Now, based on what happened in Singapore, in which the Red Bull were able to be fast, to play an underhand tactics again. You know, Red Bull and underhand tactics, they are like 5 and 6. So, in which they're able to get an opportunity to still point away from McLaren. So, FIA had come up with an idea that from 2025, there will be no fastest lap point. And remember, the fastest lap point was brought in, I think, in 2019 to improve racing. It will be taken up from 2025. Now, that thing they're bringing is to make young drivers participate more, as in more than 2 times in a season in free practices in F1. Also, they are introducing a 3 pre-season test of 3 days each for 2026 season to account for the new power unit that will be adopted. So they need to have an account for it to make sure that all the teams are right under the regulation, and they just want fairness. And they are also saying that they are giving an extensive enhancement to aerodynamic regulations of the 2026 technical regulations section C. So we've been saying they need to look at that, because aerodynamically one car should not get more advantage, a 1 second or 2 second advantage than the other car, because it will just be the death of another era in F1. Now, new structure for Formula 1 regulations and the evolution of financial regulation from 2026. That's the cost cap will be looked into in a different way for 2026 to make sure the teams are able to adhere to cost cap in a way that it will make sense. Now, Brembo are also looking at sliding brake calipers. So now they might be looking at a 6-piston brake caliper rather from a 4-piston brake caliper, which would be able to stop the cars, because we believe the cars will be faster on the straight than these cars. They should be faster on the straight. So if they can get it done, get this 6 caliper brake piston and it should be so light, made of titanium, then it makes more sense for the next generation of agile cars that are coming in 2026. And also, this same team are looking at, that's the Brembo, they are buying into a team. It's called ONS, the German team. They're buying into it and they're looking at really putting a lot of funds into it to collaborate, which will not just help their F1 conglomerate, it will also help the other cars that they are working for. I'm talking about the Bugatti etc. But certainly, we're going to F1 into the FP1 and look at how the upgrades that these teams have brought and how viable these cars will perform in FP1 and in the sprint race. Catch you there. Wow, getting into the FP1, we had a lot of interesting things. We had a lot of teams bringing upgrades, certainly, but a lot of people concentrated on the Mercedes upgrade because they brought a whole lot of upgrade to the grid. They've reprofiled their side pod inlet. It looks more like the Ferrari now, with that lower lip and the front upper lip geometry pointed forward, covering a little bit of the expanse of the nose of the car, and that will help them in downforce. It should make the car faster. And also, looking at it, they brought the front wings, they brought the front suspension, they've reprofiled their front suspension to improve aerodynamics. They've changed the floor edges, the coke engine cover that has also been added for additional cooling, and the floor fences that have been done. That's for Mercedes. The McLaren brought some few upgrades. Red Bull, like I said, they said they've worked on whatever they are doing. The FIA will check also. Other teams too brought upgrades. Now, the turn 1, turn 4, and turn 12 gave a lot of drivers a lot of issues in this FP1, and this is the only practice in the race. Aside from this practice, there is no other practice. We are going to the sprint qualifying, which I would give you an update. It still looks like the Red Bull are faster on this track. Maybe we will see a lot of improvement during the sprint race, but the McLaren looks a little bit off the pace. They're like the third fastest team. Maybe they've not really gotten their setup. As the weekend progresses, they should be able to get that. There's a sprint qualifying and a sprint race tomorrow, so we should see how they will do that and make the car a little bit faster. But Ferrari are on point. They're on point from the get-go. They look so fast, and Max Verstappen is also looking so fast. Then the Red Bull, Checo Perez is not looking in the league of his teammates. Maybe there are some little changes to his car. The Mercedes are not looking up the beat with the upgrades they've brought, because with the upgrades we saw, I think they should have gained like 1 second. I'm just joking, but certainly they're not looking up to the beat with the upgrades that we see that they have. But certainly, as the race progresses, we'll see what these teams have really done. They've learned, so they will go into mix up during this break. They will make some setup changes to see how they can make or bring some optimum speed to the car. But certainly, it's going to get a little bit nervy, very nervous with all the setup changes they've made and everything that is happening. There will be some nervousness, but let's see what these teams are able to cook up and bring to the table for the sprint qualifying. It looks like a Ferrari pole, because Ferrari are taking pole in the last 2 races on this track. Charles Leclerc leading his teammates, Carlos Sainz, Verstappen behind Norris, Piastri. At the point, the McLaren had to spray the flow V's to check the flow direction of their car. Then the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, but these cars are about 6/10 apart from each other. Then the others are coming behind them. So let's see what happens to the sprint qualifying to see how these guys can get the car closer to the penultimate time and make the cars faster, and what the teams would have done during this little to 3 hours break. Let's see what they do, but I'm sure these cars might be going into lower 1 minute 32 by tomorrow race qualifying. Sprint qualifying, like I said earlier, I said I will tell you the number of teams that brought upgrades. Now, let me tell you the number of teams that did not bring upgrades. So it can be easier for you to know the number of teams that brought upgrades. Williams did not bring upgrades. No upgrades for Ferrari. Like McLaren has told us, they are bringing upgrades every day. They keep bringing upgrades. But did their upgrades really upgrade? No, their upgrade did not really upgrade here. Now, the findings for the BIB, that's the T-floor that the McLaren and some other teams complained about, it's been solved. Though Red Bull said they are not doing it, the team principal said they are not doing it. For me, I do tell you, I don't trust Chris Horner. Chris Horner could be one of the most wonderful liars in the world. I'm sorry, I don't trust him. I like him as a person. I can speak to him if I have the chance, but I don't trust him. Now, what are they doing behind the door? What are they changing? I think that should be stopped now. That will be freezed now. But the Red Bull still looks fast. Aside all this, the Red Bull is still fast. But what are the upgrades that the Red Bull team brought? They brought the floor edge, they profiled it, and the coke engine cover. Now, we have McLaren. I think they've over-upgraded the car. The car has lost performance. They brought the front wing, front suspension, front corner for performance, front corner for cooling, rear corner for performance, rear corner for cooling, and beam wing. And seriously, these upgrades did not reflect in their performance in the sprint qualifying. Rather, did they reflect in the FP1? What are they doing wrong? Will they be able to quickly get over it tomorrow and disassemble the upgrade and fling them into the bush? Like, get out, like Mercedes did with their upgrade in Belgium. Let's see what they do. Aston Martin brought the front wing end plate, the coke engine cover. Everybody is bringing coke engine cover. Floor body, the floor hedge, and the diffuser. And to the Alpine team, aside from the color that they changed, in which they are now looking like the second-rated McLaren, they brought the floor body, the floor hedge, the coke engine cover, and the rear wings. The RB, that's the V-Cab Red Bull, just brought the floor body. Then the Sauber team, that's the K Sauber, they brought the front wing, front suspension, and rear corner. And the last team that brought upgrades were the Haas, and Haas showed a lot of improvement. I think the name Toyota got into their head, and Haas started performing like pew 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 pew. So they brought the side pod inlet. As the small team, it's their home race, and doing outstandingly well looks great for them. They brought the side pod inlet, the floor body, the floor fences, the floor hedge, rear corner, coke engine cover, and cooling louvers. That's what they brought. But it showed performance for them. I think they look outstanding in performance. Now, SQ1 was bad for McLaren. They lost their second number one driver. His time was deleted because of track limits. He came in 16th, Esteban Ocon 17th, Alex Albon 18th, Valtteri Bottas 19th, Zhou Guanyu 20th. Wait, the Sauber, even with upgrade, they are nowhere. Well, it's getting hot in there for the Sauber team because they keep coming last. And not a good qualifying, that's SQ2 for the Red Bull, as they have another one of their number one, number two driver this time. Sergio Perez was out and he was picking up Q11 in the SQ2. Pierre Gasly out. Pierre Gasly was investigated for obstructing Colapinto, was out. Lance Stroll was out. Fernando Alonso out. And Liam Lawson in 15th in that sequence. But Lewis Hamilton made a lot of complaints about going out early in SQ2 and SQ3. But the team said that was good for him, that it was the best time to go out. But really, it didn't show that that was the best time to go out, because it really messed up Lewis Hamilton's time when Colapinto made his mistakes. And that mistake really suffered Lewis Hamilton's tire, because he was running close to getting into where he made the mistake. He lost control of his rear, he lost time, and also the yellow flags around that time slowed him down. Certainly, he lost time. The unusual suspect became the usual suspect in the SQ3. Max Verstappen took the pole position by 12,000 seconds to George Russell. Charles Leclerc third, Lando Norris fourth, Carlos Sainz fifth, Nico Hülkenberg sixth, Lewis Hamilton seventh. 5 tenths away from his teammate and from Max Verstappen, Kevin Magnussen 8th and Yuki Tsunoda 9th. Franco Colapinto outshined in the sprint and he came 10th, which looks good for him, and I think he really did his best to try. So up until the sprint race tomorrow and also the qualifying, a lot of things will be done towards the sprint race, and I think after the sprint race, going to qualifying and the cars are going to park for me. We now look at the race on Sunday, but it's going to be a good race, a good sprint race certainly. Another good qualifying coming tomorrow. They were running to the 1 minute 32 today, and I think tomorrow will be much more going into the lower 1 minute 32 qualifying, or probably 1 minute 31, which makes those cars faster. So the next year's cars will be much more faster than this, because that will be the last generation of this car setup. So up until tomorrow, I love you guys. Bye. Please like, share, subscribe. I love you guys. Bye.